Hello everyone and welcome back to another documentary. Today's theme we will be covering is place, and the topic I've chosen to suit this is Minecraft. So without any further explaining, let's get straight into the action. First off, let's get started with the biomes. Today we'll be starting off with the plains, which is a relatively flat area of land. Minimalistic terrain, sometimes contains villages, as well as includes plenty of different passive mobs. Moving on to the mushroom fields, a very rare to find and desolate biome, which contains limited resources, no other mobs other than mushrooms to spawn on this island. So if you choose to go here, you will be sure to be safe. Next we have the cherry grove, very pink, relaxing area where cherry blossom trees grow. Very noticeable from far away though, due to their distinct colours. The dark oak forest, slight opposite to the cherry grove, because with the dark oak forest, that all the trees are compacted together, allowing minimal sunlight through, meaning that this place is more dangerous. However, plenty of opportunities to be able to build a house above the trees and stay away from any dangers that may spawn below. The Pale Garden, complete contrast from the cherry grove and how lovely it is. The new edition of the Pale Garden is fully grayscale, with barely anything other than the spookiness when it goes dark, where all of the unique flowers open up and emit an orange glow. Next we have the meadow, a grassy high up area in the mountains, perfect for being able to scout out the rest of the world. Plenty of flowers to find nearby, and if there are any trees, there will certainly be a bee's nest as well. Now going underground, to the lush caves, where on the flip side of the negativity of the Pale Garden, lush caves are much more appealing and bright. However, it may not always stay that way without the right amount of light. Moving on to the most dangerous and darkest place of them all, the deep dark, where if you make too much sound, you may just also summon the most powerful creature of all, the Warden. But whilst there is a higher risk, there is also a much higher reward. Let's keep exploring, and you may just find an ancient city. Moving on to the Nether, a new dimension. This first we'll be doing the Nether Wastes, typically described as the hell of Minecraft because of how red and evil this place is. It's also full of lava lakes, so watch your step, as there are dangerous mobs that could attack you at any moment. Although, if you are lucky enough, you may be able to find a Nether fortress. Moving on to the end, the final dimension of Minecraft, the Central End Island, which is the main island of the end, contains many obsidian pillars with crystals the Ender Dragon used to heal. As well as this, there isn't a short supply of Endermen, as they will be swarming those islands. Next up, we have structures, starting off with the ancient city, home to the most dangerous mob. The ancient cities will always be dark, scary, and extremely deep underground, and hard to find for a reason. But if you do find one and choose to enter and explore, the rewards you get will be worth it. Next up, we have the Stronghold. This maze-like structure contains the only gateway into the end dimension, but beware, as every corridor you turn could contain dangerous mobs. However, if you have made it this far, being in this structure should give you a massive sense of relief. Moving on to the Trial Chambers, a new and large structure filled with copper, mobs and vaults that you can loot with keys. Even though all of this sounds great and easy, beware of all the spawners that you will face along the way, which will constantly spawn mobs and then spit out some rewards. Along with all the good loot and everything in between, be aware of your surroundings so that you don't get lost. Now going above ground to a bit more peaceful, village. Villages are very peaceful, located above ground. They are sure to contain plenty of villagers and also plenty of food. However, whilst the village may sound great to be great, be sure not to accidentally hit any of the villagers that live there, otherwise everything could turn the complete opposite direction. And instead you get hunted by the village protector, the Iron Golem. The Woodland Mansion, a very large structure typically located very far away and in a dark oak forest. You won't miss it. Once you enter, you may well be swarmed and attacked, but not to fear, as this place can easily be dealt with by fire or more or a more hands-on approach if you're wanting a challenge. Even though there isn't much good loot here, to find here, it's a great place to explore, with nearly a new room at every corner you turn. Going back to the Nether for the Nether Fortress. These can be found anywhere built from entirely nether bricks. Even though it may look like this place are inhabited, that will quickly change. The only home and structure that the blaze and wither skeletons can spawn. But beware, both of these mobs will deal large amounts of damage if you aren't paying attention. Moving to the bastions. With multiple different types that can generate throughout the nether, you are sure to be able to find the perfect loot. But beware, these dark, broken structures are still very much active and full of dangerous mobs that could attack you any second. Whilst there is a very high risk, there is also a very high chance of getting some of the best loot in the game. Now to the end cities, located in the final dimension of Minecraft, the End. After defeating the Ender Dragon, multiple gate roads will open up in each corner of the island, allowing for easy access to the outer end islands, with the chance of finding these end cities. However, beware of the void, as getting through the gateways can be a struggle in itself, without the including that everywhere you go and in between each island the void will forever be there, and if you fall there is minimal chances of escape. Moving on to the personal favourite places in Minecraft, let's start off with the biomes. The first biome that I have chosen as my favourite is Plains. The reason why I've chosen the Plains as my favourite biome is because of the simplicity but effectiveness of it, especially because most of the land in a Plains is flat, but also because there is a chance that villagers can spawn there, meaning it would be the perfect area to create a base. Next, structures. Trial chambers. My reason for choosing the trial chambers as my number one favourite structure is because it offers both a challenge with multiple different waves of mobs all throughout the structure, as well as also the chances of getting great rewards. Next is ancient cities. The reason why I've chosen the ancient city as my second favourite structure is because of the great rewards that can be found in chests scattered throughout, and as well as the challenge to avoid spawning the most powerful mob. My favourite places in multiplayer would be the team base. My reason for choosing team bases as my number one favourite place in multiplayer is because it allows for a great mix of collaboration and how multiple people can come together to create one great place, whether that be a small house or a giant castle. Working together on projects is the best way to explore and build places. Next, player shops. The reason behind why I've chosen player shops as my second favourite place in multiplayer is because it allows the community to build large areas where they can sell anything, and this then allows players to also explore new places that the community has built for them. Moving on to multiplayer, we will be analysing two different servers and communities for their opinions on the different places that they have built together, including how these places have brought the communities closer together or further apart. Starting off with Simple Survival, a server that has 3 different servers inside of one IP. However, each of these servers are completely different from the rest, with many different places that the community has chosen to build, like custom mini-towns or large-scale castles, to the community areas where everyone goes when they first join the server's spawn. Gratopia, a very peaceful server and also a personal favourite because of the large-scale builds that are scattered all throughout the world, as well as the centre of all places where everyone begins the journey being the server spawn. Some examples of what the community has built in the past has included draining a large area of the ocean and building a custom castle in the centre, or an example of a place that has been created recently is a large shopping district, tree farm and custom house all in one area. Moving on to the interviews, today we have replies from the Lynx community of Simple Survival, as well as Ty and Michael from Gratopia. First off, we have the Lynx community. Here is what they had to say. /warp Toilet Town is my favourite. The history behind it gives it the uniqueness, and many other warps it has a story behind it that gives it character, and it's more than just a warp, it's a community, and then proceeds to mention 2 others that would also agree. Someone else from the Links community also mentioned Frequency or Farms Lab. Up next we have Michael, the owner of Gratopia. Here is what he had to say. Historically, my favourite place on Gratopia has been Oceania. The area was fascinating because it was largely player driven, showcasing a variety of skills from construction to event planning. Oceania allowed for constant interaction among players, which was evident in how the place changed. I'm not sure how many places have been built. I only know of 2 main player-driven places, and that was Oceania and Tortuga. Tortuga was more strict and wasn't as player-driven, but had some pretty cool builds and its own made-up history. Next up we have Ty, one of the managers on Gratopia, and here is what he had to say. Larry's base, it isn't a public player warp, but it is a very modernized base and it is still being worked on. We can take team bases as a change with Tortuga and Oceania. Tortuga used to have the biggest base on the server, but when a few seasons passed, their base is now just a small island. This change was due to a disinterest of the server, but Oceania changed over multiple seasons having massive bases. But here's the catch with Oceania. Anyone could make their own shop or house there, so the change over time in the season was substantial due to the player base's interests. Overall, I believe that Minecraft portrays places really well, whether that be through terrain generation and biomes, or structures. Everything seems to have a meaning to it. Regardless of your playstyle, you'll be sure to find the perfect place that meets your needs. From the brightness of the overworld to the darkness of the caves, or maybe you prefer living dangerous surrounded by lava, or on a remote island in the end. There will sure to be a place for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have all enjoyed this documentary and maybe even learned new things about how Minecraft portrays the theme of place.